Hey everyone, my name is Rooster, and welcome back to Mechabellum. Excuses for being away for 3 days. I was on vacation, and sadly I ran out of material to post enough videos. But we're back, and we're gonna be up against Dillo from Down Under, fellow streamer and very strong Mechabellum player. And well, today's about the Farseer because it has undergone quite a few changes. So I would like to talk about the unit and kind of showcase you a game where all of the things that changed kind of come into play. As for my starter, I decided to go for a Sabertooth pack. I think Sabertooth, again, we've talked about it before, is very meta at the moment. It has overall pretty good matchups, and if you manage to snowball and get some levels early, you will often find yourself in a very comfortable spot. Now, that being said, I'm not into a great pack here, probably one of my worst matchups. Up against Hounds and Steel Balls, lots of mid-sized units means that it'll take a long time to get through everything, and that's when Sabertooth can struggle. But if we add some chaff clear, then we might be just fine. I probably will go for Hounds. I tend to prefer Hounds paired with the Sabers because it's like a mid-sized unit paired with a big unit, so countering each will typically require two different sets of units. And on top of that, I think Hounds perform slightly better than Arclights in close range scenarios. So let's see how this goes. Looks like my opponent will be going to my tower. There's even one crawler in the mix there, so tower will fall at some point. Looks like we are pushing in on the right side as well, but we'll have to see if we actually manage to get any meaningful debuff. One Saber already locked on here, so that's going to go down, and the other one shooting at crawlers. Looks like the tower debuff will just not come in at the correct time for us, so we're gonna lose both of our Sabers, and that should be all she wrote. Yeah, there goes the debuff now, but that's too little too late with this many steel balls remaining. We do manage to take out at least one more with the help of the Hounds, but that should be about all. Okay, well, a second one goes down. Not terrible. Hounds here are farming somewhat, excuses. And alright, well, first round, not amazing, but we didn't lose too many hit points. Heavy armor shows up. That is a little bit scary. Very good item for steel balls, and I imagine that with that good of a round, he shouldn't be too far off of a level. Yeah, actually, he's very close, right? Only just shy of 100 away from that level 2. And keep in mind that he is a fortified specialist too, so his steel balls are actually already out of range of level 1 Sabertooth to one-shot. That could be meaningful in this matchup. I decided to pick up the heavy armor as well. It just felt like it was the best thing to pick. Even though if the steel balls manage to lock on, it shouldn't really make too much of a difference. I decided to go for a Phoenix here on round 2 and then buy another crawler. I feel like still going Phoenix round 2 is kind of a staple. You need to have some form of anti-air, so whether it's, Phoenix, Mustang, Wasp, Marksman, feels like you need at least something on the board to give yourself a chance. Unless you started with like triple Fang, sometimes you can get away with that as well, but yeah, the air threat is real. And, well, as you will see, opponent here does not have any anti-air, so we should be winning the round. Although there is a lot of chaff remaining. We will get another debuff, but again, Saber goes down before that. He did manage to get those remaining experience points to be able to level up those steel balls. No idea what happened there. Steel ball just like doing a complete 180 from the rest of the pack, going towards that tower, and we will get debuffed yet again. So 50 seconds left. Maybe the Phoenixes here won't be able to clear up everything. There are some crawlers in there, and they're not exactly the fastest of shooters. Just gonna have to wait. Are we anywhere close to leveling? Not really. That's somewhat surprising. Maybe if we killed everything, we would. You can see the bar is slowly filling up, but 7 seconds left. We're not going to get to those steel balls, so no levels for the Phoenix, and that's not exactly what I was hoping for this round. Round number 3, extended range Phoenix, worth a consideration. Another heavy armor, and Wasp Swarm offered as well. Lots and lots of things to think about. I decided to go for the extended range Phoenix, just because I felt like if he goes extended range Phoenix, maybe I'm in some trouble. And it might not be too bad to try and play for charge shot at some point. Instead, though, he decides to go for the other heavy armor. Makes sense. I mean, steel balls are great with that item. Gets that level. I get my Sabertooth from the Sabertooth Specialist, and he decides to pick up a Farseer. And so here we can already see some changes on the loadout that he's running. He's got that range, he's got the burst mode, and he's got the new tech, the aerial specialization. Now, burst got added, I believe, at the start of Season 4, not too long ago. Didn't really see much play, but they recently buffed it in a balance patch. So now it only increases reload time by 200, which previously was 250. So that might already make this tech more viable, especially because it's very, very cheap. And the new tech that got added is maybe even crazier in certain scenarios, because 200 cost aerial specialization is wild, right? This unit has 125 base range, which is what made it so good, you know, in all of the patches before this, before it even was, you know, a unit that you could unlock. And now you can potentially give it, you know, 30 more against air units, going up to 155 with that 75% damage boost. This is probably going to be a great way to counter things like Wraith early on. And yeah, overall, it makes the Farseer a lot scarier than it was before. And mind you, it was pretty scary before too, just taking over, you know, the early game, typically when it showed up. But now you might be able to just keep it on the board and, you know, go burst mode, overwhelm any attempts at interception, go for that early anti-air to deal with Wraith, all that type of stuff, right? It might just become a viable late game carry. Either way, round number 4 here, we have Fire Badgers offered. I wasn't really too happy with any of these drops, but I decided to go for the Fire Badgers anyway. It shouldn't be bad to stall these steel balls, right? It's a bit similar to sledgehammers in that regard. So we might be able to sell one and then keep 2. Probably kind of line them up here on the right and the left. That's exactly what we're going to do. I believe I make a small mistake here. I accidentally sell my Hound, which I will yep, realize later. So we undo and we actually sell the Fire Badger, or one of them. Opponent goes for the Fire Badgers on the flank. I was somewhat expecting this, so you'll probably see me buy some Wasps just to deal with the flanks. Just in case, because this is a very common play, right? You get 3 Fire Badgers for free, you throw them on the flanks, they kind of, you know, annoy all of the chaff, and can be a big problem to deal with. Yep, here we go. 2 Wasps. I did pick up a Wraith last round because I felt like I maybe needed more chaff clear, although I guess now we've got a bit of a mix of different sorts of chaff clear. With the Fire Badgers, the Wraith, we've got some Hounds. Wasps should be able to take down these Fire Badgers, but maybe it takes a little while. And let's see. Sabretooth has managed to level. Seems like on the right side, steel balls aren't managing to do the same thing, so we are getting through relatively easily. Left side taking that much longer though. Just look at how tanky these steel balls are. 17,000 HP. And yeah, my Sabretooth not really able to level right now. Not ideal. Farseer gonna take down my Wraith from the looks of things, but there are a lot of crawlers remaining, so maybe we can kind of chip away at these Farseer, of which there are 3 at the moment. That is very, very scary. And they're gonna take down my Phoenixes on the right, as we weren't able to quite clear everything. We do take down 1 Farseer, but that's probably gonna be all she wrote, meaning I'm gonna take 600 damage here. These guys deal so much end of round damage whenever they survive. It's really quite crazy. 300 a pop. And yeah, they're going to clean up my Wasps. So another round lost, sadly. That's going to put us down below 3k. Entering round number 5. And so here I'm starting to think, okay, well, Sabretooth probably is the best in this case. He's not heavily investing into steel ball, so I should be able to get away with it. And typically, Saber should be a good unit into Farseer. Farseer, not the highest DPS, is, you know, not super squishy, but into Saber should be just fine. I decided to skip there, nothing really too interesting. And yeah, we do recruit more Sabers at level 2. And we also grab the secondary armament. I don't think this tech is particularly good, but we're a Sabretooth specialist. And, well, we get, you know, that discount on the Sabretooth techs. And against these mid-sized units, I actually don't think it's too bad. This will deal 4,000 damage on a level 2 Sabretooth for each of the guns, so it doesn't quite one-shot these Fire Badgers that he has, but it does one-shot the Hounds. Keep in mind, this doesn't have any splash, so you will have to shoot all of the units individually, but I didn't think, you know, range would do me much good here, so I just felt like getting the additional secondary armaments to try and deal with some of the smaller units might help connect with these Farseer. Now, 2 more Farseer show up yet again. So we're already up to 5 now, with a bunch of levels available too. Not going to do anything specific about these flanks. As, well, I level this Wasp to try and deal with the flank a little bit quicker, but that's going to be about it. Opponent sells out of that Badger and decides to go burst mode first. We'll have to see how that goes. Actually manages to kill 2 of the Fire Badgers there. The burst does actually have like a little bit of splash or spread, which means that it typically will hit like more than 1 unit. And that's not looking too bad. Wow, did it just kill a whole pack of hounds on the right side? I think it did. Also not even doing too bad against these wasps. That's 2 salvos just to take out a full pack of wasp. I was under the impression that this tech would, you know, really struggle against chaff and just fire everything at 2 of the chaff units. But look at this. It's just thinning out half of the pack with that first salvo. That is really, really quite crazy. Right side does win. Sabretooth still alive. We should be able to win here. Sabretooth able to tank, but will eventually go down. And the thing is, the burst on this unit doesn't have that long of a cooldown. It's only 6 seconds, which granted is a long reload time, but considering that you get 12 missiles launched is really not that bad. Round number 6, we get unit reinforcements. I decided to go for some Void Eyes because I felt like Void Eyes should be good into things like Hound, into things like Steel Ball, and at level 3 they do pack a punch. So hopefully we can just kind of, yeah, sprinkle them on our board and have them be annoying. If they can add any additional DPS, I'd be pretty happy. I decided to pick up some more Phoenixes here because, or at least one, because there was a Phantom offered. Opponent goes for that, decides to sell one of them. Levels all of his Farseers. And that's going to be all she wrote. We are kind of buying a little bit more chaff here and there because I felt like his chaff clear should be pretty bad. And let's see how this goes. Sabretooth, of course, should be able to deal with this Fire Badger relatively easily. Wasps are arriving. Phoenix going to help out with that Phantom. Although, looks like my Sabretooth will die to that Phantom spawning in. So, not all that bad of a flank for my opponent. Left side looking much better though, as we have a lot of Void Eyes here arriving. Sabretooth going to take down those Farseer very quickly. But Salvo takes out my level 3 Saber with the heavy armor. Now starting to work away at my Void Eyes as well. But we are collapsing. Debuff does come through. 1 Void Eye will fall, but that'll be about it. And that's a very good round. I'm going to send down my opponent down to below 3k, pretty much equalizing the score heading into round 7. Round number 7, Incendiary Bomb, worth a consideration. But I felt like he should probably just shield. I could try and throw it here and just kill all the chaff, wouldn't be too bad. But instead I decided to go for the Photon Coating. Opponent picks up the fire. Puts it all the way in the bottom left. I guess he's trying to kill like 2.5 packs of chaff. Which is not terrible, but also it's a 150 cost spell, so not the biggest value. We do go for some shields. And now let's see, how does this go? We add a Crawler here on the right to try and distract these Phantom Ray shots. Make sure that they don't insta-lock the Saber. And then adding some Phoenixes would make some sense. So we add another level 2, we loan, round 7, take another Phoenix, and that should go on the right side here, yep, to deal with that Phantom pack. We're also going to use a missile, just to clear the flank a little bit quicker, and then that should be good. All of the Farseer though now have range, and most of them are level 2. How is this going to go? Phoenixes right now don't have any range yet. I could give them Charge Shot, but I felt like I had plenty of damage to take down anything on the opponent's board. He didn't really have anything really big, so just base units here should be fine. Maybe should have clicked the Absorption, but I wanted to keep the option available for Charge Shot, and I didn't want to have to pay 400 for it if I had also clicked the Energy Absorption. Also, I don't think it would have done that much, because if the Farseer connects with it, it will probably kill it with the salvo. And we're not doing too bad. Maybe we have a slight chaff clear problem, though. Right side seems to do okay. We still have some hounds left there, but moving in certainly isn't ideal. I think temp speed here would have helped quite a lot. And, well, we do seem to win. We get the Tara debuff, which is very nice. And now we're just going to take down the shields, take down the remaining Farseer, and we should be all good. There we go. So a little bit of extra damage. Dillo now going to be down to 2k hit points. And round number 8, we have more unit reinforcements. Very big Typhoon, level 4 available there. Arc lights available too. I felt like my main problem here was chaff clear, so I decided to pick up the arc lights and probably will give them range just to try and get through the chaff that little bit quicker and make sure that, you know, we can connect with the Farseer. Maybe range on the sabers would have been useful as well at this point, because felt like we were traveling for quite some time and that made it possible for the Farseer to connect with the sabers way before they could connect with the Farseer. Opponent does go for the Typhoons. Gonna find its way onto that flank here in front of the Fire Badgers. Level 4, 50k hit points a pop. That is very scary. And another level 2 finds its way onto the right flank with some hounds behind. Range on the hounds as well. I decided to go for loose formation because, again, I felt like the chaff clear on my opponent's board wasn't the best. Hounds are okay-ish into loose formation. But Farseer, especially with Burst, should be way worse into them with the crawlers spreading. And we're gonna get Mech Rage too. Opponent sells a Steel Ball, and now we have a Heavy Armor Typhoon. 80k hit points on the flank. That's not gonna be very easy to deal with, and probably we will lose this round. And, I mean, right side, I'm not even sure if that is going to be okay. Maybe these Phoenixes will turn. Okay, they do. And crawlers are annoying the enemy unit. So right side should be fine-ish. But yeah, left side is very scary. The middle doesn't look too bad as we're now advancing, trying to get rid of the Farseer. But look at those fangs spreading. That is really not good. We do manage to take down a Farseer right before the tower goes down. And now... oh, Burst almost... no, not really taking down the Saber. Gonna be able to pick up a level 4 here on each of them. Now all that's left is dealing with these Typhoons on the flanks, but not gonna be enough to kill. Another big round. Dillo gonna find himself down to 632. Orbital Javelin does show up. I pick it up instantly because it's a very cheap spell, and especially against this type of board, it can be very, very powerful. Opponent instead goes for the Vulcan drop, though. And I'm not sure I'm going to defend against that. I probably just completely missed that that was available. We might be able to take down the Vulcan, but it will pull a lot of my chaff. And right now it feels like the chaff is like the main thing that's buying me time. Missile's going to get used. I need to deal with these flanks. I decided to Javelin this Typhoon here on the left, but it's not quite going to die to it. So maybe I should have put it on the right. I don't know. This seemed like a lot of value, and I won't have to deal too much more damage to these units. We're going to put a level 2 Sabertooth in front of these guys. I was thinking about maybe putting a Rhino there. That tends to be my preferred way to deal with Typhoons on the flank like that. Put a big Rhino, give it like Whirlwind, maybe even armor if needed. But I didn't really have the money to go for that unlock, and I already had Sabers with text, so felt like that made more sense. Bunch of shields coming out from my opponent. And, well, now let's see. We indeed don't really deal with this flank in the back. Bunch of missiles going to be used. We do take down that shield instantly. I think the Saber managed to splash both of those Typhoon shields, so not bad at all. And left side, we also managed to dispatch the flank relatively quickly, but yeah, Vulcan does kill a lot of my chaff. And look at this, just the delayed chaff is creating so many problems for my main board. Like, now the chaff is arriving, but sadly, all of my bigger units have already been taken down. And I'm going to get debuffed. Vulcan is still alive. That's going to go to my tower as well. And everything's collapsed. We have 2.8k hit points left, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Farseers still alive. That's going to be 1500 damage coming my way. And suddenly, things are not looking that good. It seems like I'm really struggling a lot with those flanks. They just don't go down fast enough. And that's giving his main board the time to take down my units. His chaff clear still isn't great, but the pulls alone are basically making it so I have half the chaff. Extended range Sabertooth, not what we want to see. Nothing here really seems that useful, so should just be a skip for the both of us. And now, I mean, how on earth am I going to deal with these flanks? Because I need to deal with them quick, but not really sure how I'm supposed to do that. I could maybe put down, like, a factory. I'm thinking, like, Scorpion is going to be too slow to kind of enter the main fight. So maybe we just have to try and buy something that can get rid of the Typhoon fast and then has at least some fighting power once it's dealt with the flank. So in my mind, it's something like a War Factory, but we could be in some trouble here. Fire Badger is going to try to ignite this oil. Not sure if he's going to manage to, because they might just lock onto the Saber or even die before that happens. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 packs of chaff are getting pulled currently. And of course, he could try and missile the front packs as well if he wants to. I do decide to go for a War Factory, selling one of my Sabers because it really wasn't doing too well. And we're gonna just replace or move the heavy armor to the other level 4 Sabertooth on the left. War Factory with Launcher Overload, hoping that the guns are going to be able to just deal with everything really fast. And I mean, let's see. Sabertooth will die, but the War Factory will manage to take down that Typhoon and now move towards the middle. But my Arc Light, it's stuck on one of the steel balls. That's really bad. At least the War Factory can maybe help the chaff clear, but that's not what you want to see for your main chaff clear units. Getting stuck like that on those units. Very high level hounds there as well. Arclights doing what they can, but now some steel balls are arriving from the middle. Can we take them down before the debuff falls? We can't on the right side. Hounds have found the tower, so the debuff goes through. And that oil, even though it didn't get ignited, maybe this was even worse. Slowing down my crawlers so much that, yeah, we just don't have any front line. And now the level 3 Farseers with Burst just take down my factory like it's nothing. And that'll be that. Game over. Farseers perhaps looking strong now, even in the late game. That burst mode certainly was quite scary. I was kind of surprised at how well it was doing. I think that the flanks had was a big reason why we lost this game, but I wasn't really sure what to do with it. Like that level 4 Typhoon that just showed up from the drop with the heavy armor. There's not much that I can do about that, except, yeah, try and build a War Factory, maybe even earlier. But that's very, very hard to deal with. Even the counters, you know, I can only buy level 2 units, and even those will struggle to take down a Typhoon like that. I could buy a Scorpion all the way in the back, but, you know, then I have a Scorpion basically sitting in Narnia that will never contribute to the main fight, so I didn't like that option too much. But very, very tough game. Kind of, yeah, surprised at how well this was going. The burst also seems to do way better at chaff clearing than I would have expected. You could see in the early rounds, it was just like one-shotting hound packs, like killing half of wasp pack in one burst. And at 6 seconds with that new buff, it doesn't seem like it gets that much of a downside, really. So I might have to give this a try myself. Either way, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of CARRY FARSEER. Have you tried it out a lot, or is it the first time that you see a comp like this? Let me know. If you want to stay up to date with my latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.